What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's video. In this video we've got a lot to cover. We're going to be going through some German volume training, so let's dive right into it. What is German volume training? Basically, German volume training is where you do 10 sets of 10 reps on a specific exercise, usually one exercise per muscle group. Now when we say volume training, what is volume? Let's define volume. Volume essentially is the number of sets times by the number of reps times by the amount of weight that you are lifting. Now let's get into an example of what volume would actually look like. So a pretty typical routine for especially a beginner to follow would be where you do 3 sets of 10 reps on a specific exercise. For our example, just use bench press. So if you do 3 sets of 10 on bench press, that would be at 100 pounds, 3 sets of 10 reps, 100 pounds would be a total volume of 3,000 pounds. In German volume training, if you were to use, again, the same weight, it would be 10 sets of 10 of 100 pounds would be 10,000 pounds of total volume. So you've more than tripled the amount of total volume you've done. Thing to note is when you're doing German volume training, you're not going to be lifting with the same numbers, but the end result is still going to be the same. You're going to be lifting with more overall volume than if you're following a more traditional 10 sets of, or 3 sets of 10 type of a routine. And an important thing to note is the amount of volume that you use when working out is the most important factor when building muscle and stimulating hypertrophy. Now, there's a couple other ways you can training for strength, training for endurance. But like I said, the amount of workout volume, total volume you do is the most important factor for muscle gain. Now let's jump into some more specifics about German volume training. Who is this routine good for? I would specifically recommend this routine for someone who is more of an intermediate lifter, someone who's already got some lifting experience under their belt, someone with at least 1 year of experience lifting, maybe 2 or maybe a year and a half to 2 years would be ideal, especially if you're not used to this type of training before, you've never done high volume training, and you're really looking to stack on some muscle and make those gains. Definitely try out some German volume training in that instance. Okay, let's talk about what the specific routine would look like. And for this, got the trusty whiteboard. It's one of my favorite things. Okay, so German volume training, or GVT as it is called. Again, I mentioned some of this, so 10 sets, 10 reps per muscle group. The exception here, and we'll get into some more detail later, is arms. We're not going to be doing 10 sets of 10 on barbell, bicep curls, or anything like that, but we'll get into the specifics of what that will look like later. This is how I would recommend outlining German volume training. So on day 1, always got to start off with chest. Everybody loves chest day, so we're going to do chest. Day 2 is going to be legs. The leg workout is going to be extremely brutal. Just going to forewarn you that. So that's why we take a rest on day 3 to recuperate, to let your body recover after annihilating those legs. And then we're going to go into back. Back day is going to be another really difficult day. It's going to take a lot out of you. So that's why we do that after the rest day. Hopefully you've gotten your energy back and you're ready to get after it. Then we're going to follow it up with arms and abs. And then on day 6, shoulders and calves. Day 7 is rest. So this is a 7-day rotation, hitting each muscle group once per week. In the previous, or one of the previous videos, I talked about push-pull legs. In that routine, you could hit your muscle groups twice per week. But since we're doing so much volume and this is so intense, we're only doing each muscle group 1 time per week. Okay, enough of the whiteboard for now. So now let's jump into some of the specifics of the actual routine, what each of those days are going to look like by exercise. So day 1, remember, is chest day. I'm going to have the specific exercise breakdown somewhere on the side here, up, down, below, side, somewhere. Anyways, day 1 is going to be bench press. We're going to do 10 sets of 10 on bench press. Again, you're going to realize that a recurring theme here with German volume training is I'm going to focus in on the compound movements for those 10 sets of 10. You're not going to be doing 10 sets of 10, dumbbell flies or anything like that. We're going to stick to some heavy compound movements. Then for the next exercise is going to be 3 sets of 10 on cable flies. Now you notice there's only 2 exercises on chest day, and that's because that 10 sets of 10 is going to be brutal. It's going to destroy your chest, but you're going to notice your chest is super swollen. It's going to be really full of blood. It's going to be hard to move. It's okay. It's just the 10 sets of 10, some cable flies, get out. Don't sit there for too long. We're going to get into how much time you should rest between sets at the end. I'm going to talk about some other tips and some other things like that, but just bear with me. We're going to keep going through the different exercises at the moment. Next, for day 2, remember day 2 is legs. This is going to be one of the hardest days. We're going to do 10 sets of 10 on squats. 10 sets of 10 on squats. Got to rep it out. This is where you got to really fight and dig deep. How bad do you want it? Do you want some tree trunks for legs, or do you want skinny stick legs? Nobody wants chicken legs. Get those legs big. 10 sets of 10. And then, since squats will focus on quads a lot, you utilize a little bit of your hamstrings, but it focuses on your quads and your glutes a lot. We're going to do 3 sets of 10 on leg curls just to get the back of your legs pumped up a little bit and help you to make sure you're not only focusing on the quads, but you're again hitting those hammies. Day 3 is rest day. Make sure you rest. Do not do any lifting. Do not do anything. Eat your protein. Get your at least 8 hours of sleep. Rest. Allow your body to recover. You have just destroyed your legs and your chest, and you're going to start to get that DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. It's going to be hard to move. After that rest day, after you've recovered, we're going to go ahead and kill back. Again, remember, back is probably the second hardest, if not maybe tied with legs in the amount of time you're going to be spending in the gym and the intensity of it, because we're doing deadlifts. 10 sets of 10 on deadlifts for back day. Your lower back is going to be fried. Make sure you're always lifting with good form. If you don't know how to do deadlifts, make sure you practice first before you jump in there with heavy weight and hurt yourself. After those 10 sets of 10 for deadlifts, again, deadlifts are, just to recap, deadlifts are a really good exercise for your hamstrings, for your glutes, for your lower and your upper back. So it's almost a total body workout. Very effective for your back and your hamstrings. So that's why we don't have too much hamstring emphasis on leg day. It's more of a quad day, whereas back day incorporates a little bit of the hamstrings as well. And then after those deadlifts, we're going to do 3 sets of 8 lat pull-downs, pulling down for those lats. You engage your lats a little bit on deadlift, but we're going to do some more isolation-specific workouts, or exercises, I should say, with the lat pull-down, just to pump up the lats a little bit more. And then we got to do some rear delts. After you've done those 10 sets of 10 on bench press, you're using a lot of your chest and your front shoulder. Got to make sure you hit the back part, your rear delts, back part of your shoulder, to really round out the muscle groups and make sure you're not overexerting yourself, getting those rounded shoulders. So 3 sets of 8 on those rear dumbbell raises. That's back day. After back day, we're going to go into some arms and abs. As I talked about earlier in the video, we're not doing 10 sets of 10 for arms. The reasoning behind that is, after doing 10 sets of 10 on bench press, anytime you're using specific exercises where it already incorporates some of your arms, like bench press where it hits your triceps and things like that, that is really going to start to wear down on your ligaments and your joints. I don't want you to get tendonitis. I don't want you to really hurt yourself. So we're going to take it a step back here. We're still going to hit it with intensity. We're still doing 5 sets of 10 on bicep curls, 3 sets of 8 on seated machine curls for your biceps. So you're still going to be hitting it hard, still going to be doing high volume, but we're not going to go insanely berserk here and destroy your ligaments and your joints. Skullcrushers, you can do this with a preacher bar if you want, or you can do it with dumbbells. I personally prefer to do Skullcrushers with dumbbells. It feels better in my in my elbows and my triceps, and it doesn't hurt. So it's up to you, but we're going to do 5 sets of 10 there. And then we're going to do 3 sets of 8 on Triceps Extensions, hitting those triceps, and hitting those triceps. And then for abs, to finish it off, we're going to do a superset to incorporate all of the muscle groups in your abs. We're going to do 3 sets of 12 back to back. First, crunches. Second, leg raises. Third, oblique crunches. That way we're working the upper abs, lower abs, and the obliques, the sides of your abs. So again, 3 sets of 12, superset those back to back. So do crunches, leg raise, oblique raise, rest, and then repeat the process, 3 total sets, 12 reps each exercise. On day 6, we're doing shoulders and calves. Your shoulders already get worked a lot from the bench press, and we did the rear delt raise. Overhead press, we're going to do 10 sets of 10. That's it. No other exercises, nothing else for your shoulders. Again, we already hit them with your chest and doing overhead press and doing your rear delts, so you've already got a pretty well-rounded shoulder workout there. But for calves, Can't skip out on those calves. We're going to do 10 sets of 10 standing calf raises. That's going to work the upper part of your calf. And then we're going to do 3 sets of 10 seated calf raises. Hit the lower part of your calf. So we're working both of the primary muscles of your calf and making sure you're getting a good pump and you're getting a good stretch. Again, don't skip out on the calves. Don't skip out on the legs. Got to have a well-rounded, well-balanced physique. And finally, day 7 is a rest day. Okay, let's talk about a couple other things, just a couple other things to note and to consider when trying German volume training out for the first time. So this is going to be very difficult if you're not used to high volume training, if you're not used to high number of sets. So I recommend starting with a light weight. I think the estimate for the amount of weight you should be using is about 60% of your 1 rep max, if you happen to know what that is. So for instance, if you could only bench press 100 pounds, you would only be using 60 pounds for the 10 sets of 10. If you're not sure, again, start conservative, start light. You don't need to go in here lifting a ton of heavy weight. That's not what this routine is designed to do. This routine is designed to overload the muscles by pumping a ton of blood into them and ripping down those muscle fibers over the course of a long, steady progression. With that said, you're going to see that the first 1 to maybe 3 or 4 sets is going to feel pretty light. You might be feeling pretty good about yourself. You might be saying, hey, I can increase the weight. I could go a little bit harder on this. Don't. Trust the process. Feel it all the way out, because by the time you get to set number 7, again, especially if you're not used to high volume training, your chest or your legs are going to be on fire, and you're going to be happy that you stuck with the weight you did. Worst case scenario, if you did pick a weight that was too light, just increase the weight next week. It allows yourself to build up and to continue to improve over time. With that said, it's not just a one-time approach where you're doing this exercise, this German volume training for 1 week. It's going to be multiple weeks, maybe a few months or so, depending on how you like it. But give it a try. Give it a chance. Don't try it 1 week and then quit. That's not how you see progress. That's not how you improve yourself. You really have to push yourself. And like I said, this is going to be hard. You might want to quit after a week, but don't. Stick it out. Get your protein in. Get your sleep in. Make sure you're resting. And with that also in mind, make sure you're taking adequate time between sets. If you're doing 3 sets of 10 on a traditional routine, probably taking relatively short rests. I would say maybe a minute, minute and a half, something like that. On this, especially for your first time, start off taking 2 minutes. It might even seem like it's too long, but pace yourself. Remember, for chest day, you're just doing 10 sets of 10 on bench press and 3 sets of 8 on cable flies. So if you take 2 minutes between sets, that's a total of 20 minutes of total rest time for bench press alone. You're not going to be in the gym for an hour on chest day. You shouldn't be anyways. So give yourself plenty of time to rest. Pace yourself throughout the workout. Again, give it a few weeks to really adapt and see how the routine works. And then you can kind of go from there. You can judge, do I need to decrease the amount of rest? Do I need to increase the amount of rest? Things like that. So it's a learning process. That's how you get better. That's how you improve. You try things out, you adapt, and you figure out how your body responds, and you make it work for yourself. Everybody's a little bit different, so don't get discouraged if this is super brutal and super hard. Just decrease the weight and ride it out. Next, we're going to get into cardio. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I recommend this routine for someone who's trying to bulk up, someone who's trying to add some muscle mass to their frame. If you're trying to lose weight and you're going through a cutting phase, I don't recommend starting this because you're going to go from whatever you're doing now to something that's pretty extreme and has a lot of high volume. It's going to drain your soul. So keep doing what you're doing and doing your cardio and everything like that, and then try this out after you finished your cut and when you want to bulk back up, because this is going to take a lot out of you, and it's really going to require you to make sure you're eating a lot of protein, getting your carbs in, your fats in, making sure you're sleeping, and preferably in a caloric surplus where you're eating extra calories, so that way your body has a chance to rest and pack on those slabs of muscle. If you're in a caloric deficit and you're doing all kinds of cardio, it's going to really take away from the workouts. It's going to make this super hard to do. So I don't recommend doing cardio while you're following this routine. But with that said, if you're someone who wants to do cardio for health reasons, if you're someone who likes to do cardio year round, even while you're bulking up, no problems with that. Just make sure you're doing it at the end of the routine. Don't do your cardio before the workout. Again, that's going to take away from the workout. You're going to take all your energy and funnel it into that cardio if you're doing 20, 30 minutes of cardio. And then by the time you get to your 10 sets of 10 on squats, you're going to just feel miserable and you're not really going to be able to push yourself and force your legs to grow, force your body to adapt. Let's talk about some positives and negatives. Let's focus on the negatives first. Get those suckers out of the way. So there is a lot of volume involved in this routine. I've said it a couple times in this video. So your body's not going to probably be used to this, especially if you're more of an intermediate lifter and you haven't tried out a lot of different routines. So it's going to kind of suck for a while. That said, usually the routines that suck and the things that are hard end up providing a lot of benefit. So don't be discouraged by that. Another negative, depending on how you look at it, is if you're more of a strength trainer, someone who's a power lifter, something like that, a strongman athlete, this might not be a good routine for you because it's not focused on building strength necessarily. It's more focused on hypertrophy, overloading your muscles, making them bigger. Okay, now let's focus on the positives. So, like I mentioned, I keep saying that a lot in this video, like I mentioned, as I previously said. Anyways, this German volume training is a high volume routine. It's going to extremely annihilate your muscles. If you're not used to it, it's going to cause you to grow bigger muscles. It's just going to happen. If you're normally doing 3 sets of 10 and you jump into this, be prepared. You're going to get muscular. Just make sure you're eating your protein. Get your calories in. Another positive of this, it's really straightforward. It's not rocket science. It's a pretty bland routine. You might even think of it as boring. Gets the job done though, and it's very easy to remember. Bench press, 10 by 10. Squats, 10 by 10. Deadlifts, 10 by 10. Overhead press, 10 by 10. Those are the main exercises you're going to be doing. You add in some arms, calves, and abs, and got the routine down. Easy to remember, easy to track. So overall, in conclusion, German volume training is a freaking solid routine. I highly recommend it. The pumps are insane. You get so much blood pumped into your muscle, it's hard to move. A few things to remember: make sure you're eating enough calories, you're getting your protein in, you're resting, you're taking those rest days, you are not sitting in the gym for 3 hours, and make sure you're sleeping. Make sure you're getting at least your 8 hours of sleep, and you should be pretty good. Just follow all of those things, try the routine out, give it a couple weeks, couple months. Let me know how you like it. If you end up liking this routine, throw it into your exercise rotation a couple times a year. Give yourself a chance to continue to grow and progress off of it, and use it. With that said, I appreciate everyone tuning into the video. Hopefully this was helpful for someone out there. If you could just please give it a like, give me a subscribe, write a comment down below on your thoughts. Let me know what you like, what you don't like about it. This is my take on the routine, so these are the exercises I chose. You can certainly choose different exercises, and it's open to you. The world is your oyster. Make it happen. So, again, appreciate you tuning into the video. I will catch you guys next time. Stay lifting, stay aesthetic, and keep working hard. We're all gonna make it.